It's a world most people never see, never want to see. And yet this world is part of every culture, every age. In alleys or hotel rooms, it's the shadow of a community. The alter ego that can rarely be forgotten. Debates about it ebb and flow. Laws against it come and go. But this seamy side of life endures wherever groups of people live together. Because it exploits a very human urge. Sex. In our first report into the state of the sex business around the world, we learned that the oldest profession is thriving everywhere we look, based on the law of supply and demand. It may vary with different cultures, but constant it remains. In this episode of Investigative Reports, we explore one of the most well-known red light districts of all, in Thailand. We travel to one of the world's newest democracies, where capitalism is putting a new spin on the oldest trade, and to Cuba's blood-red neon lights of a faded past, still alive in the shadows. But first, 3 women who for years have made a living with the highest bidder.
I turned my first trick in a small town at 13 years old. I slept with legislators, I've slept with senators, I've slept with bums. I've slept with fat men that had so much fat on their body they couldn't get out of bed, you know. I've slept with men who thought it was really cool to watch a woman look at other women, so they'd hire a prostitute to be with their wife. It started because my mother was an alcoholic, and she took our entire welfare check, went down to the liquor store and spent the entire amount on liquor, brought it home, put it in the cupboard, and said, that's our food for the month. And then 2 days later, the landlord knocked on the door, and he didn't ask for my mom, he asked for me, and he asked me where the rent was. And at that point in time, I mean, I was 13 years old. Sure, I knew how to babysit, but I didn't even know how to cook, you know. And so I went to someone that lived in the low-income apartments where we lived, and I asked him, I said, how can I earn some money and earn it really fast? Because I got to pay the rent. And he said, well, let me show you how it's done. I got married when I was 18, and I was still turning tricks until I was 19, and my husband didn't know about that. And he does now. You separate yourself. Your mind is in one place and your body's in another. A lot of the time, you'll be laying there on a bed and you're doing whatever it is you're doing, and your mind is off in the corner watching. You don't see, you're not there at the same time. There are several types of prostitution here in Salem. There's women that'll stand out on their front porch at certain times, on certain days, and the men will drive by, and if they're there, they'll stop. If they're not, they won't. There's probably 15 migrant camps surrounding Salem right now, and there's women that go out to these migrant camps every other day. A different woman will be taken out to the same migrant camp. One of the women that I'm working with currently goes out to a different migrant camp every day and sleeps with approximately 100 men every day. And she gets $20 a pop for it. I can remember from personal experience going into the T&R truck stop in Salem, and there's anywhere from 100 to 1,000 trucks that pull in there every night, and you can go into anywhere from 5 to 20 trucks a night, depending upon how many you can squeeze into your time, you know, that you're going to be there. And usually the average price for a truck stop is about the same as if you're street walking. It's about $20 a person. When I got out of prostitution, my best experience was being able to buy my own underwear. You know, I went for years without even wearing underwear, and to go out and buy them was very special for me. Happiness for me is having everything I want and not having to give anything up for anybody.
This 25-year-old woman wouldn't allow